Hello, everybody. Welcome back to, well, we haven't actually had one of these in a while, at least not for a 5v5 tournament, but it's a Beyond the Summit hosted and, well, out of our own pockets, we are running this event. It's a $500 weekly cup, winner take all, single elimination tournament with 4 teams. Our first match of today will be a best out of 3 between No Tidehunter and Team Liquid. It's a weekend full of tangos. Boy, I'm all over the place here. This is going to be our first series after this best out of 3 at around 21 or CET, rather, which is 15 EST. EEST. It's going to be Virtus Pro versus Fnatic EU. The grand finals of this particular cup will be played tomorrow, and we'll have the schedule for that for you guys a little bit later. That will be a best out of 5. After Virtus Pro versus Fnatic EU, we have one more match. It's going to be the loser bracket finals between Synderen as well as S4 for a fistful of tangos. If you missed Sing Sing versus S4, it was a pretty funny match, but yeah, S4 did move on. I'm LD. I'm joined here today by Blitz, and Blitz, we're coming to LA, baby. Gods is already there. I'm coming soon. We're starting a studio, and I don't want to be your big spoon, though. I hope that's okay. Oh, wait, you're muted. There you go.
Hello?
Yeah. Now you're
Every
muted.
time I convince my girl to try to let me be Little Spoon, it's really sad. It's like nobody will ever let me, but I'm looking at Gods right now and he's laughing at me and he's like all of 6'4". It's like 5 inches taller than me, so. But I'm pretty excited to cast this game. Any opportunity to flame Liquid Bulba missing spells.
No,
It's always a good thing.
No, we're not going to do that. Bulba's been very sweet lately. He deserves our
Oh,
love and respect.
What if he plays Magnus and misses an RP though?
Well,
You're just gonna let that slide?
Then he'd be Mushi.
Very solid.
Yeah, Mushi's Mag, not quite as impressive as this Queen of Pain. But yeah, so we're gonna be nice to Bulba this particular game. No Tidehunter versus Liquid. I've watched some European, North American games here and there, but I gotta be honest, I'm pretty much sleeping when most of the games are happening. So you probably know a lot more about how the games are developing. I do know these teams love Wisp. I know there's a Batrider in the pool. Be surprised if we don't see it banned out here. Liquid has first pick. But yeah, how do you feel about these two teams matching up, first of all?
In terms of skill and everything, they're pretty even. I think Liquid has one of the highest potentials for a team in terms of individual skill and stuff. They have a lot of players that were at the international. Of course, Bulba, IX Mike, TC Fluff, they were all at the international. Korok plays at a very high level. He's been one of North America's best players. NTH, of course, also can't be discounted. They won DreamHack. They got second at the Thor Open. Really solid team overall, and I think in terms of even matchups, this is about as good as it gets.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm a little disappointed Wisp is banned, but then again, well, we're going to see a Bat first pick. No Tidehunter knew they were giving this away if Liquid wanted it. There is a Mag in the pool. And it's no Tidehunter on the Dire side, which means we can expect a lot of stacking, a lot of farming, a lot of very turtle-oriented play. I'll eat my hat if it's not that way.
They've gotten different. They still pick a lot of Gyro and Coddle and Keeper of the Light and Luna and all that, but
Mag.
they play more aggressively. I think that style was just really good for DreamHack because a lot of people, instead of adapting to it, they try to do it but worse. So, but I think NTH has moved on from that.
I mean, it's not as extreme.
Pony.
The few games that I've seen of them, though, is pretty defensive play, especially when they're on the Dire side. I mean, it won't be the hardcore, like quad stack every camp and farm for 60 minutes, but they seem generally like a more defensive team. I know they have run some kind of cute strats, though, like the support gyrocopter and occasionally the offensive tri-lanes, and they do have the option for that with Keeper of the Light here. Let's see, I guess an Admiral Bulldog Lone Druid is the choice.
Yep, that's one of the heroes that they really favor. It's the one that, I mean, it's a signature hero for anybody that doesn't know. Admiral Bulldog plays a ton of Lone Druid, and by that I mean some odd 1,000 games or some ridiculous number of him only playing Lone Druid, so.
Yeah, I actually, it seemed like they were favoring his Bounty Hunter a little bit more for a while, but I mean, you can never say no to the Admiral Bulldog Lone Druid. They skipped the Mag, though. Both teams had a shot at the Mag. They went for the Batrider first, which is pretty standard, but Liquid, are they going to go for it here?
Yeah, Liquid's really avoiding picking the Mag because they've seen Bulba play it before. Sorry, I had to get that dig in. Like, that's the only one I'll use.
Well, I mean, it is kind of a, I don't know. He's a little bit risky as a hero in that sense. Like, you can't always count on landing a good RP in certain games, especially with the Lone Druid if he goes for Radiance. It gets hard to get that Blink initiation sometimes. And, well, I mean, Mag's not for everyone. Like I said, Mushi's Mag, not the best. And that's freaking Mushi, so.
Yeah, Team Liquid picks pretty interestingly though, they don't like really have a definitive style. They don't follow a meta.
Yeah.
Whenever you talk to Fluff, he
Whoa.
kind of just does whatever he feels like works best for his team. Because they have like a really specific style in which they play. So
So they go for the Brood here, and yeah, I mean, you mentioned like unique style. We've seen them pick the OD and send him mid. They love to run their.
10 seconds
I think I
remaining.
pronounce it on. It's Visage or is it Visage? Someone was flaming me for this the other day. I guess it's
5
Visage.
seconds
But they
remaining.
love to run that fluff and stuff offensive trialing Visage. And with this Broodmother pick, I wonder if they're just angling to get that Brood versus Lone Druid 1v1 matchup, because that's a pretty tough matchup for Lone Druid, unless he's pulled sentries early. But they pick Brood against Keeper, so you've got to figure they're looking just for a good lane matchup, because in the mid game, that Broodmother's not going to be that useful if she doesn't have a good start.
yeah, Keep It Alight right now is the go-to competitive support. In every lineup, you want at least 1 or 2 heroes that can kind of clear a wave to stop pushes if things are
10
going terribly,
seconds
so you can
remaining.
preserve your towers. And Keeper of the Light is by far the best at that. You can kind of
5
just like
seconds
stand back,
remaining.
blast, stand back, blast, and in the meantime, you also get farm most of the time with that. And your carry can just
Reserve
be
time.
farming in some random corner of the map, and you can ult and recall him in. So right now, Keep the Light, great defensive carry or support.
Carry. Yeah.
Good.
He farms
good
like a
synergy
carry.
with a lot of carries. Yeah, yeah. You can always get a quick mech on him, and Blinding Light.
Oh,
Man,
Bane.
that spell is so good.
Oh, we should see a gyrocopter ban. Whenever anyone picks up Bane and you already have Keeper of the Light, you do not want to let them set up that massive burst damage. And, well, they have a hero who can remove the sleep with Broodmother with the Spiderlings, but I doubt we're going to see this Brood laning against the Bane, so that probably won't come into play. Yeah, I know No Tidehunter loves their gyrocopter. Whether it's low to running as a carry or whether it's in an offensive tri lane, we can see them play it a bunch of different ways. The one thing I'm not sure they have is S4's hero, and they're banning Lodas. They could start off with the Faceless Void here, in fact.
It's a good ban. I think they're just worried about like the team fight ultimate and the synergy between all the heroes and getting. Chronosphere does 2 or 3.
So it looks like they're not expecting an aggressive tri lane from No Tidehunter. Because obviously you don't want to leave Void solo, either against Brood or Bat. He's not going to have fun. So they're expecting No Tidehunter to play this one defensively. I guess that makes sense because it's a Bulldog Lone Druid, but he can go to the safe lane. And with Bane and Keeper of the Light, these are pretty aggressive supports. I mean, you don't have to go
10
offensive
seconds
tri lane, but
remaining.
they're very powerful if you want to.
Yeah, they really are, but
Not going for it. Maybe they are.
No.
Now they ban on dying.
Team ban.
It's hard to say, I guess.
they could have picked that up as well if they were going to go offensive.
Yeah, that's true.
They have a lot of flexibility. It's not a big deal yet. You can even send Bane mid. I've seen Scandal do that a few times with Empire. So I don't know how much they subscribe to that sort of metagame, but I don't know if Team Liquid will ban out any more carries. Maybe the Luna if they don't plan on taking it themselves, or the Gyro, because I know that NTH really likes running that. But they often run it kind of as a counter to the PL. Back when remember that little heyday where he was really popular. He still is, but of course, but they used it just to kind of do as much clearing as possible.
Yeah, it's surprising. We saw a keeper first. A keeper picked up not first pick, but the first pick by No Tidehunter, and they had two shots at the PL. They didn't go for him. And Team Liquid, they do know No Tidehunter quite well. Everybody should at this point. They banned the gyro here, and also a great way to deal with Broodmother later on. So a smart ban.
Yeah. I really like the fact that they've kind of taken such an unconventional hero, Gyro, and made it popular as a support. It's not something you see every day. It's pretty neat.
He's my freaking favorite hero in the game. I mean, it's just
10
explosions.
seconds remaining.
You know, it's like an action movie constantly with Gyrocopter. It's great to
5
watch.
seconds remaining.
I wouldn't think that you like that hero because he doesn't KS very well.
Team ban.
That's all you get a tag on. Come on now. Have you seen that YouTube video of like the Gyro and the Wisp who port back? The Wisp brings the Gyro home when he's getting ganked, and they port back into 5 enemy heroes and wipe them all. It's pretty
No.
adorable.
Please link.
I'll play it after. I'll play it after this game as filler content over the break. It's pretty awesome. So very slow sort of pace to the second set of bans. Both teams really relaxing, sipping beers probably.
Do you see that Windrunner pick? Or ban, I guess? I guess that's something that they might have utilized in a scrim or something.
Dire
Well,
team
I know
ban.
Korok's Windrunner has been pretty impressive. The one game I saw him, he went for like, I think it was for Raid Call. He went for, maybe it was the defense. He went for like a Blink, Orchid, Force, what's the Shadow Blade or Force Staff? Some
Yeah, it
like
was Shadow Blade.
ultra kind of gimmicky Windrunner, but he just played really well, and hit all his shackle shots. So I feel like this is just a respect band towards Korok more than anything else.
Yeah, Korok has this uncanny ability to make really clowny stuff work really well with high aggression, and he just like gets free kills. He's like the best at that. Really good player, just picking
Yeah,
people off.
I mean, it does bite him in the ass sometimes, though. I think I
10
watched a game
seconds
recently
remaining.
where the enemy was pulling mid. He was on the dire side of
5
solo mid, and he
seconds
basically he
remaining.
dives the tier 1 at like 3 minutes into the game, going for first blood, cost him his life. So it can be a double-edged sword, but
Reserve time.
I mean, you always want at least one player, I feel, on a team who's going to be aggressive and kind of set the pace for the team like that, and Korok certainly does it for Liquid, or
Yeah, I
or
mean-
dies trying.
He backs it up with like really really solid mechanics though. So it's not like they're just kind of random aggression dives. He gets aggressive and he feels that he can outplay you, so he's going to be willing to go for it.
Life Stealers, the final ban. So they
Radiant team pick.
are expecting. No Tidehunter is expecting an offensive tri lane. They ban out the Lifestealer, the Undying, and I mean that's a pretty devastating tri lane if you run it with the Bat Rider and Rubik +1, or if you send the Bat mid and then you can pick up that +1 with the Rubik, and say the Lifestealer. So I think these are smart bans from No Tidehunter.
Yeah, they really are. And the Windrunner ban, I like that a lot. Considering they're heroes, getting shackled with your bear is a terrible thing to do.
10 seconds remaining.
And Lifestealer does quite well against the heroes that they have right now as well.
5
Because you can
seconds
kind of
remaining.
just run past the wave with rage and
There-
jump on the keeper.
There is still PL in the pool, by the way. That was not
Dire
banned by
team
Liquid. They're saying they're not afraid of it. OD is a good hero against illusions to a certain extent. If the game goes late enough, PL's still going to outcarry him. But if OD is a good start, he can snowball quite hard. His orb does pure damage. Doesn't care about the PL's high armor, and it just murders illusion armies quickly. So they go for the OD again. I would be surprised if I hadn't already seen Liquid run it, but it worked really well for them the last time they did.
You know,
10 seconds remaining.
Korok told me once when I rang for Quanic that they really like picking it against the Lone Druid.
5
He never
seconds
fully
remaining.
explained to me why, but the pick exists for a reason, okay?
Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? Because anybody who gets entangled, you can always astral them and kind of keep them out of trouble. Obviously, the orb is going to be great against the bear because the bear generally has high armor in the mid game, but the orb doesn't care about that. So I guess it kind of makes sense, but I mean, Lone Druid's also just a pushing carry, and Odie doesn't really stop pushes. So we'll see.
I think they like putting him in one-on-one matchups with Lone Druid. I know that the Peruvian team does that a lot. Gamer University, the one that played in the
10
defense, they did that
seconds
to us a few
remaining.
times in scrims.
Did it work?
Yeah, it did actually. It was pretty neat.
5
You
seconds
just keep astraling
remaining.
the bear or the Lone Druid, the actual hero, and then in the mid game he just ults and does a ton of damage.
Tidehunter is the
Dire
final
team
pick
pick.
for Liquid. And I guess it's a tri-lane with the Tide Rubik Bat, or maybe they're just jungling the Bat and I guess Brood off lane, OD mid, and then safe lane Tide Rubik. What are they doing with their lanes? I guess that's the one nice thing about the way Liquid drafts is it's a little bit harder to predict how they're going to lane it.
Yeah, they
10
don't really adhere to
seconds
any
remaining.
conventional thing. I think they might actually even put OD in the safe lane, World Destroyer
5
in
seconds remaining.
the short lane, and then put that in the long or
Bat mid, Brood
Bat
off.
mid, Bat mid, Brood long. That's what I meant to say. And then use Rubik and Tidus supports. That would make the most sense, right? Unless they have some innovative Brood Mother support style that I haven't seen in Tidehunter's the off lane, but that makes the most logical sense to me to put Outworld in the off lane or in the short lane.
See,
Brood in
yeah,
top.
I mean, even when you're explaining
10
it coherently, it's
seconds
just so these
remaining.
heroes are so weird. It gets a little bit confusing anyway.
Yeah, because I'm not used to seeing
5
that
seconds
combination of three
remaining.
heroes ever in a game. Bat Rider, Brood Mother, and Outworld Destroyer.
Luna.
Devourer is what it's called. I keep forgetting they changed it to.
Oh man, this death ball from No Tidehunter in the mid game is pretty fearsome. Keeper of the Light, Lone Druid, Mag Luna. That is a 5-man that you just do not want to fight against. Liquid does have Brood, and if Brood gets a good start, it's actually going to be played by Bulba. So we should see it going to the off lane most likely. Then they can kind of avoid the 5-man push, but when it comes, all you really have is Tide. You don't have the heroes that can farm that really fast mech. I guess OD could go for it, so maybe we'll see Korok do that. But I like No Tidehunter's 5-man quite a bit more.
Yeah, what I actually really like about Liquid's lineup is they've kind of gone for the whole we're going to win our lanes as hard as we possibly can. With OD, Tide, Rubik in one lane, if that's how they go. Brood Mother's a really, really
10
good
seconds remaining.
laner in general, and Bat Rider, of course, is Batrider. He just kind of wins.
5 seconds remaining.
And Mag actually will do okay as long as S4 just kind of spams the Shockwave. Then he can survive in the lane
Oh,
as long as he
they're
doesn't
smoked
die.
already. Level 1 smoke, Basilius and Luna. Are they going for some sort of... Try to get first blood for... Are they going Roche?
Yeah, they could rush with this.
Oh, they got the bear. Yeah, they definitely could.
They have 4 range heroes, a bear, and he has the Lunar Blessing. I don't see why else he would get Ring of Basilius. But it looks like Liquid is also on the move just as fast.
Yeah.
If you see Fluff, he started out with boots, just so he can scout ahead.
And this is going to be... They didn't actually place a ward yet by Eternal Envy. The bear walks into the pit. Was not spotted just yet by Liquid Fluff. We're not going to have a chance to introduce the players just yet. We'll do that once the chaos ends. Rush is dropping pretty quickly. They do have 4 heroes up. In terms of the level 1 lineup, Liquid's is not particularly strong. Illuminate's being channeled. It's going to hit on 3 heroes. IX Mike's going to fall almost immediately. There's your first blood. Now TC on the way out. That's a nice telekinesis stun, but the sleep is going to hold Batrider in place. S4 actually went for Empower to help them do Roche a little bit easier. TC's going to die anyway, and now they might be able to go back and do the Roche, but the creeps are spawning soon, so they may just abandon it. Are they going to go? Are they going to back? It looks like they're going to back. Liquid's 5-man at level 1 with Brood and OD is just... I mean, they have no damage on this lineup. These heroes really need levels, so early first kills by No Tide.
Yeah, that ward placement is the most obvious one that you're going to do. So Fluff, you know, he had to take the risk and start running there, but the Coddle Blast was preemptively channeled and they all got hit by it, and then from there they had to scatter because Mike just flew down in HP.
That's really clever by No Tide. By picking the Codal and picking a lineup that can go Roche, they force Liquid to go contest it. But Liquid couldn't contest it with this lineup. Like, honestly, unless they just somehow caught a hero out of position, how are they winning a level 1 fight? Maybe if everybody on No Tide Hunter's just sitting in Firefly forever. Brood's pretty useless at level 1. Tide's a good ganker. He's not really a great 5-man hero before he hits, at least gets a couple points in Anchor Smash, and OD's fairly useless. I don't feel like Liquid could have fought that, so you got to just credit No Tide. It's really smart. Sure, Liquid can come to the Roche pit if they're smart, but what can they really do?
Yeah, that was just a really neat lineup. I think they saw the opportunity to do it, especially since Outworld doesn't really do much early. Broodmother, obviously, what is she going to do, right? You spin webs at people and run at them really quickly, but aside, with the exception of that, this just seemed like a really well thought out plan. I really like that Coddle Blast that was charged inside the Roche pit. They saw them preemptively coming. I think Liquid knew. I mean, obviously they knew, but it was a damned if you do, damned if you don't. I think the best call there would have been just to apply pressure and maybe try to get them to force back, but directly engaging, they just give up 2 kills.
Yeah, like you said, they just didn't see the Illuminate being channeled, and even that level 1 Illuminate, I mean, look at the freaking damage on this spell. It's 200 damage at level 1 on a massive AoE. That's a lot of HP, especially for... I mean, look at Liquid's heroes. Most of these are pretty squishy level 1 heroes. And, well, it looks like Liquid is going to go offensive Trilane, so they're leaving the Brood safely, and they're trying to angle for that Brood versus Lone Druid 1v1 matchup, but I don't think they're going to get it, because, well, Bulldog's headed top from the looks of things. It's actually No Tide Hunter is offensive Trilaning.
Yeah, I think once they got that 2-kill head start, they feel pretty confident about going for the offensive Trilane.
Let's see, who's actually got money? Who got the first blood there? It was Bulldog with the first blood on the Tide Hunter, and then we had a secondary kill on Loda. And they have the other random Basilius, they have Codal. It's a pretty strong Trilane.
Yeah, and I think what they're trying to do, NTH, is avoid any really weird matchups like Bulldog going up against the Brood one-on-one. And so at least this way they avoid it. Since you can just right-click the Panda Bear,
Yeah,
and that's what it is.
That's a really
Panda
hard
Bear.
matchup for Druid. I mean, even if you pull him sentries, it's still difficult, especially when Brood's on the safe lane. Because she can just farm the jungle, do a lot of pulls with the spiderlings if she micros well, and really deny your ability to get any experience. And at some point, it's too many spiderlings once she hits level, like say level 5, and has the Soul Rain. You just can't really contest it. So I think it's smart by No Tide to dodge this.
Yeah, Korok's actually going to start pretty well, nice. Against S4 mid, who's got an Empower level 1.
Yeah, that's the one thing about the level 1 rush, is that it's gonna potentially hurt us for a bit in the lane. They don't really have the best... They could gank on him with Tide, Rubik. They do have some good setup, but the problem is then that leaves Bulldog in a 1v1 against a Bat, and I mean, it's not like Bat will get shut down, but we'll have a much easier time of it. Let's see what they're gonna do. They're kind of roaming around towards top.
The more difficult thing is trying to gank for an Outworld Devourer who just what does he do? He's gonna get Astral Imprisonment and Essence Aura, and so when you come to gank for him, he's gonna right-click a bunch. So unless S4 is feeling really lucky and stays in the lane with 300 odd HP, he should be fine as long as he has a level of skewer up.
Yeah, I mean, even without a pointed skewer, like you said, what does OD really do? Auto-attack you and not even hit that hard? Because OD doesn't even go for his orb early in most cases, and he's not here. So, Bulba is being pressured a lot in this bottom lane. Looks like they're just going to leave Keeper and Luna, and Envy's going to start roaming. Oh, they're diving top. Bulldog gets caught out. He got lifted up. Here comes the Firefly. TC is tanking the tower shots. Now Fluff takes the aggro. Down he'll go. Everybody splitting nicely here. TC continues to take additional volleys, but he will live. Meanwhile, middle lane, Envy strutted through the lane, and then it looks like OD may have just imprisoned him, or himself. No, he imprisoned Envy. Now Envy's going to be rotating top. So they're leaving two heroes to deal with the Brood, and these are two pretty good heroes to do it with, especially with Kodal in the lane.
Yeah, the Bane can just sleep TC and stop him from going. And I think Bulldog was a little aggressive there. Well, not aggressive, but even staying against the tower against a Batrider, where he can just clear the trees out, isn't the safest thing to do. So he has to play a little more scared here.
Yeah, I didn't actually catch it because I was watching Envy run towards mid, but did he come like up through the trees, like where he didn't?
Oh, they just went around and they pincered him.
Okay.
So one side went in like this, and two of them went in from behind, and he tried to stay up in the trees, but they just burned him down.
Yeah, they do have a pretty potent, just in a 3v1, this Liquid Tri lane is really scary. They're not as good in Tri versus Tri, to be honest, but the nice thing about the Brood pick is no Tidehunter can't leave Luna alone. She needs help to deal with this Brood.
The good thing too, though, with NTH's lineup is that Keeper of the Light later on in the game can pretty much just solo stop Brood and minimize his utility. So that's something that...
Yeah, that was why I think both, we were both sort of like, well, what's going on with this Brood pick? Because if she doesn't dominate the lane early, mid-game, look at no Tidehunter's AoE. It's not just the Keeper. They have Mag, too. These are great heroes for stopping pushes.
Yeah, so I think what Liquid was going for here is they weren't looking at the mid-game so much as saying, we're just going to dominate all of our lanes. Because that's what OD does, right?
That's what you want him to do. That's generally why you pick him.
You want him to just crush his lane, and then you pick a hero like Bat, who also does the same.
I mean, you can see S4 does not actually have mana to cast the Shockwave, even with full mana. But Mag's nuke is oh, they're diving top lane again. They're gonna catch out Envy, who is getting Flamebreak back into the Firefly. He will sleep, but then it's immediately woken up, and well, he'll drop.
Yeah, that's just a really difficult lane for them to deal with. They don't really have a way to stop the Bat from diving, is the issue.
I mean, Liquid's got to keep the pressure up. They got to keep on finding kills or at least shutting down the farm in the safe lane because the Keeper, otherwise the Keeper of the Light, well, he's shutting down the Brood right now, but if he's able to rotate top, let's say when Loda gets a couple of items up, or if they can just rotate Loda, this could get a little bit trickier. So the laning stage is where they need to dominate. Here comes the Rubik, hasted into the middle lane. They start with the Disruption. There's no mana for Skewer. Now there is, but Fluff's tanking the tower. One more auto attack. I think the Stout Shield just procced there. Fluff actually dies to the tower shot. Oy, oy, oy.
Yeah, they really wanted a... That's exactly what we were talking about earlier. How do you gank for an OD?
Mind. Well, yeah, he's a little bit lacking in damage. That was close, though. That was quite close.
Absolutely.
No, Envy's gonna swing around, but I don't actually think that'll accomplish a whole lot considering S4 has no mana.
Yeah, Envy's very poor. He doesn't have boots. He's actually gonna rotate towards top. And they're leaving, so they're basically just roaming Fluff at this point and leaving two heroes top, leaving the Brood defend first up bottom. And Bulba not getting much CS, but he is getting the levels, and that's a little bit more important for the Brood. Just needs the Soul Rain, and then he could start to farm a lot in the jungle with the Spiderlings.
Yeah, and actually, they're actually going to swing around for mid again. They have the smoke this time, and if Ixmite comes, I think this time they can pick off S4, especially since he's lacking in mana. I think one more time around the... actually just picks up his bottle, but... If you notice, Korok finally went Arcane Orb at an odd level at level 5. I think because he realizes the damage just isn't there yet.
Yeah, I mean, also, he might have got... I think he actually had that at level 4. Was thinking they could get a kill with Fluff and just wasn't quite enough. Here they go, rotate towards bottom lane. This is a very gankable lane with Loda as well as Ake. Ake should be the target. He doesn't even have boots yet. Here they come.
Loda just uses the rest of his mana.
Oh, they're gonna go for Loda here. They do have to lift. He's so royally screwed. Yeah, that's an easy kill. And now Bulba's really gonna start to have an easier time in this lane. He's level 6, so he can always use that ult to get back to full HP. TC does hit level 6 with Tranquil Boots and Bottle. He's gonna go check the 6-minute rune. And then I guess they're gonna just leave him alone. Bat at level 6 is very hard to gank.
Yeah, that was actually a really nice smoke gank. I think S4, he was playing a little back, anticipating the smoke gank to come for him, especially with the way that Korok was playing up, but instead they go for bottom. They were doing the right thing by playing really high up on Bulba, just denying him a lot of farm, but with that there is some risk.
Liquid's actually behind when it comes to gold, just because of that first blow in the early kill. They have a very strong laning lineup, but the 5-man from No Tidehunter is absolutely devastating. Luna only level...
TC.
Yeah, he's been sitting in the woods invis for a while. Surprised he didn't go on the Bane there.
I don't think he thought he could kill him. 682 health, 2 levels of brain sap, and a sleep.
Yeah.
I think it would have been enough to live.
If you had napalm stacks already up on him, you could probably kill him, but when you're applying those, he can just sleep. They're not going for the early level 6 in this type. They're going to go in mid lane. S4 has the skewer. He will get lifted mid skewer. Then tossed back. He doesn't have mana for RP. There's no TPs coming in just yet. There's the sleep from Envy, who walks in towards the middle lane. Fluff will steal it, but it's too late. Envy was there when they needed him. S4 lives, and that was 3 heroes. Devoting a decent amount of time for the ganks. Only level 3 on Fluff. Liquid supports are very level dependent, and they're not getting many levels right now. It's always risky to roam with supports like this.
Well, it would be okay if they had almost any other hero mid, but because they don't. Just having an OD there, but he is doing quite a good job. 43 and 14 in CS compared to 28 and 4 by S4, but S4 doesn't really need
Mag
too much
just
CS.
used the shockwave, so he doesn't have the TP and ult combo, and they're going to go in Bulldog with the lasso top lane, but Bulldog's still alive. Is Mag going to TP in? No, he's not going to. It looks like there's actually breaking out bottom. Bulldog's still freaking alive. The Firefly's cooling down. They're still diving him. 4 stacks. Where's my team, says Bulldog. Where is my freaking team? Oh, he's actually going to transform to try and dodge a little bit of damage there. Doesn't matter. Mag just didn't have the mana. Now he's got a double damage rune, and it's the Astral Imprisonment, actually. That's why he doesn't have it. So much in stolen.
Yeah, nobody could really rotate up there for him. That was just a really tricky situation for him to be in. Although that would have been the perfect time to TP, as everyone ran out of mana at around the same time, and
that took like 25 seconds to get the kill. Maybe not that long, like 15 to 20 seconds. Like, if anybody could have TP'd to save him, there was definitely enough time.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
But I think now that they're just kind of focusing on getting low to the farm he needs, and Envy really needs levels at this point. I think he's still level 3, right?
Yeah, Envy's quite underleveled. He's level 3, and Bane, you really want to get that level 6 out. He doesn't even have boots. I mean, he's just really poor. Actually, Ake doesn't have boots either, so both of the supports... As much as the supports on Liquid are struggling for levels, the supports on No Tidehunter are struggling for any semblance of gold.
The good news is Ake almost has his boots. He's got a magic stick, and they're going to take this bottom tower, it looks like. Bulldog actually just transitioned down here because I think he's realizing that any sort of pressure at top is going to get him killed, and the support can't rotate to get him wards there. So the best thing to do here now is just the 5-man, especially since they have the mag ult. So if you can get a skewer reverse polarity, that's just the teamfight won. And especially with Eclipse.
Right. Oh, nice tower deny. Bulba actually denied it. I think that's with the spider lanes. Good play by him. Bulba with, I mean, doing his part, but at the same time, IX Mike is still only level 4. When you're up against this kind of a 5-man lineup, normally rushing that Ravage or getting that Tide quick level 6 is a priority, and at this rate, he may not have it until the tier 1 mid falls. Oh, they're going Roche again. This is going to be a very slow, painful Roche, but they know there's no Ravage. IX Mike has been spotted, and he's not going to get his Ravage before this Roche drops, so Liquid pretty much forced to forfeit it. They also don't have a blink on their Batrider.
Yeah, Nake's just going to solo stop this push by himself in middle. And they don't have the ward, so they have absolutely no idea that this is going on. And they do have that early level of Empower, LD. So they're actually going to pick up this Roshan at a fairly decent time. And just make things really good for them in the mid game. Loda's going to have his drums here, and I think they can just 5-man from here on out. And I think that's what they'll look to do too. Considering the laning phase is gone, kind of just for them.
They're still roaming the supports. They still have not gotten 6 on Fluff. They still haven't gotten 6 on Mike. They're just... At this point, it gets hard to find those levels now because the tier 1's down bottom, and there's a Mag on the map who hasn't used his RP. You gotta be careful about getting those levels, but they need them. They desperately need a Ravage, or at least a Spell Steal. Something. The Blink Dagger's coming soon, but I'm not sure Blink is enough. Bane's a great hero to deal with back, because when he blinks in, you just sleep him, and then suddenly he's not really scaring anyone. Oh, load of TP's in top. There's some... Elusive number 1 to start. Ix Mike on the run. Can they skewer him? They will do so. He doesn't have Ravage. He's going to die again before getting Ravage. Ix Mike, not his day. And TC going to be forced to TP out. At least TC doesn't die, so he should have the Blink soon, but without Ravage, without spell steal, how do you fight this?
Yeah, they're going to have a really tough time. I think what they were going for there was just to try to split push and apply pressure as much as possible. But NTH scouts it out. They get nice TPs coming in. Loda leads with it. They stop that from happening, and it looks like they'll just go for this tower now.
Such a strong 5-man. It's not even a 5-man right now, but the Kotal can stop the push on one side of the map. And the Brood, I mean, we mentioned as soon as the draft unfolded is, you know, how is she going to push unless she has a really good start? Keep It Light can just always stop those pushes. And, I mean, still Bulba in the safe lane has not gotten his own tier 1. It's not really his fault, it's just more the matchup.
Yeah, it's just a really difficult one, and Ake actually, he picks up another set of sentries, and if you notice, he was blasting the neutrals just in case that Bulba was farming that. Just total warfare.
Bulba is jungling a spider lane, so he's catching up a little bit in the farm, but well, it's going to be a while before he gets the big items. And he's actually, I kind of like this from Bulba because he's going for the Midas, and honestly, he's just so far behind at this point that I feel like he needs it. This is something you see a lot of the Chinese Brood mothers used to do when they were running Brood, especially players like Ferrari. Even if the Brood had a horrible time, he would go for Midas. He picks it up now, and well, they know they can't really fight right now because they don't have Spell Steal, they don't have Ravage, so now they're going to angle towards kind of a more mid to late game timing, which would seem to favor No Tide on paper, but I don't really see Liquid having other options at this point.
No, and I think they're just going to go for the split push all day. I think NTH should be grouping up relatively soon and just starting to force fights because Liquid's going to have a hard time stopping them from just manning up and going, especially if anybody gets caught with reverse polarity at this point. With Loda having Eclipse up, they're just going to have the worst time in the world fighting.
Like you said, OD is a lane dominator, and S4 does not have his Blink Dagger at 13 minutes in. And they've got the tier 1, they've gone for Roche already this game, so you gotta, I mean, normally you'd see a Mag having his Blink, that's just credit to Korok, and Korok also went for a Midas as well, so multiple Midases. This is not quite EG with their triple Midas strat, but sort of reminiscent.
They've secured the late game, LD.
GG.
All hope is lost. I know this is one of your favorite strategies.
It's a fun thing to do in pubs. Blink Dagger is up on TC.
I actually really like this, though, by Liquid. They know that the mid game is kind of going to go iffy for them. And so what they've done is they've secured the late game. And at the very least, they're going to have the XP advantage going into most of the fights with Midas.
Bulldog?
So it's not the worst thing in the world. And it kind of forces a timer, too, on NTH. When your carries start getting... all of your carries or supports getting... Not your supports, but... And your mid is getting a Midas, then it kind of forces NTH to be a lot more aggressive.
Bulldog has gone for a Midas of his own, but late game, OT actually does very well against the air like Lone Druid because Lone Druid doesn't go BKB. That's normally one of the biggest counters to OD is getting a BKB because then he can't cast his orb on you, he can't imprison you, his ult doesn't affect you. It doesn't do the damage anyway. I actually don't know if the Mana Burn goes through BKB, but pretty much OD is useless versus BKB, but only Luna can really deal with that. So the Bear's still going to be very vulnerable, and also OD's super level dependent. This hero needs all of his spells maxed out to really be effective. It's not like Luna where you can hit level 7 and immediately contribute, so it fits the hero as well, and he should have his Force Staff soon if he wants to go for that. He may have to get the mech, though, because nobody else is farming nearly well enough to do it.
Yeah, and on top of that, another thing I'm starting to see is that Lone Druid actually won't get any stat items, and his intelligence and intel gain is kind of trash for obvious reasons. You don't really need that much intel or mana, but that works really, really poorly against him in the later phases of the game.
Yeah.
Especially with the way that OD's ult works.
And yeah, that ult does more damage if your intelligence is low. And I mean, also, even maybe just not having mana to resummon your bear, because sure, you've got Keeper, but if your base int is too low, you can have full mana and still be short of the summon cost. So it's all kind of hypotheticals. We'll see how it develops, but we do have a bit of a pause here. As far as gold goes, dead even. As far as experience goes, dead even. And no Tidehunter is even in terms of towers, but they got that Roche, so... And Liquid gave up the first blood, so it's really just the double Midas you see starting to kick in.
Yep. The level advantage, in all honesty, should start going their way. If they can get Mike to level 6, too, which he is, yes. Mike is at level 6. They can kind of engage fights. As long as they don't take them in foreign territory or in the middle of the jungle or something where the Eclipse can really do full damage, but... At the same time, they have that Brood, So as long as Bulba can pop out with some Broodlings to tank the damage and force the RNG gods against them.
Yeah, and I mean that rat. At the same time, they also have Fluff, who could maybe steal RP or even Illuminate. That can turn a fight. I mean, suddenly you have a massive amount of AoE damage to call your own. So, Liquid's team fight could be very good. It's just kind of iffy. No
Yeah, a lot
time.
of things have to go right for them.
Yeah, exactly. Bit of a prolonged pause here. So, guys, this is Beyond the Summits, a weekend full of tangos. Sort of playing off of a fistful of tangos. By the time this weekend is over, we will have the conclusion of a fistful of tangos. The best 1v1 player invited to the tournament, and we invited some of the best in North America and Europe, will be awarded. Currently, there's only 3 remaining. It's Synderen versus S4, which will happen as our final broadcast today, and then tomorrow the winner is going to play Old Man Fear, so I'm excited for that. Also, we are doing, a Kickstarter at Indiegogo. If you guys want to support us, we are moving to LA. We're starting a studio there. Blitz is going to be spooning with gods. We're going to be casting Dota full time. Definitely go check it out. There should be links directly below the stream, as well as, well, pretty much everywhere. If you need a link to the Indiegogo, someone can link you. But I've been amazed by the support already, and it just shows how much people love their Dota and want to see more of it.
I really like the fact that you had to mention that me and gods are spooning. Thought that was something that was kept between us.
Bumblebee was sharing. Bumblebee was also mentioning some. Oh, I'll have to read. If we have another pause, I'll have to read what he said in Skype, because he said some very concerning things about your behavior, you and Purge, on a recent trip.
Hey now.
I think Heyoka may have been involved as well.
Very private things are afoot.
We'll just pretend it never happened. Liquid just sitting mid. They do have Ravage. I actually don't know if No Tidehunter saw IX might get 6, but you should expect at this point. It's been like another 4 minutes since he was 5 that he probably has it by now. And TH, good wards. They're looking to do some split pushing and kind of turtling of their own.
I don't actually know how much that'll pan out for them, though. Especially with this Midas strategy, LD.
Yep.
Although they do have the better late game, I feel, in Luna. Mag and Lone Druid.
How am I casting a Loda game and he's not going Midas? Granted,
I
he's
know!
off lane, but still.
I talked to him about that the other day, and he's like, I am the king
Here
of
comes
Midas.
the fight. The turtle enemy gets. That's a really incredible, actually, blinding light, but it's not enough. The Ravage connects pretty well. Here comes the Mag. He gets. Where's that RP? He's canceling it. He's canceling. He's looking for it. He catches. Oh no! He gets
Oh my God.
imprisoned. What a sensational imprisonment by Korok. There's still a haste run up though. He may be able to run down these supports. They're still on the chase. The Aegis was popped. Bulba's on the way out. Will he get entangled here? No entangled just yet. RP just for Bulba. That is some serious hate. What an astral imprisonment by Korok. That was gonna be, what was it, a 3-hero RP? Instead he got only 1.
Yeah, and that was actually the split-second timing. It was in the air, most of the follow-through was gone, and he gets the Astral off, and he completely saves that fight.
Korok planned that.
Kind of went poorly, because they're going to lose the tower at this point as well, but it could have gone a lot worse, and that's just kind of the issue with Liquid's lineup right now. That's what they can hope for. That's the best-case scenario. It could have gone worse.
And that was with that having a blink, getting the jump on them. They ran into No Tide. No Tide was not really prepared for that smoke. They did not have vision of it when it started. It just didn't matter. And a big factor there we have to point out is that Loda did have the Aegis. He did use it up in that fight. He didn't even get Eclipse off. I mean, like you said, it just wasn't even that great of a fight from No Tide, but it's they can have mediocre fights and still win. And now they have Blink on S4, so it's going to get easier for them to find the right fight.
Yeah, and the neat thing there was that Eternal Envy was such a low level that Ake was actually able to TP him back in after he died. I thought he bought back for a second, but then I remembered he was like level... he just hit level 4, so maybe that's the new strategy, right? Keep your support so low.
Wait, who
They
just
can
hit?
get TP.
Oh, Envy, yeah. Thought you were saying Ake just hit level 4. I was kind of confused, but yeah, Envy is not having a good. He's not having a fun game when it comes to playing that hard support role.
Yeah, but it worked out for them right there.
Yeah. And also, he is going to hit level 6 at some point, and, well, yeah, in fact, he's going to hit it right now. No Tidehunter did stack up the Ancients. Envy's going to be... I mean, with that ult, it does give you a way to kind of deal with the hero like OD, and if Brood's not big, then you could just Bane ult that Brood, or that OD, and try to burst him down. Granted, you don't want to get ravaged or lifted, so you got to find it at the right moment, but that ult can be a powerful late game tool. It makes Bane a pretty scary late game support. And they're going on Bulbo. That's a long-range Fiend's Grip from downtown is Envy. But where's that follow-up? The follow-up is coming. Oh, in comes Lodeberg, and down he will go. That was a recall bringing him in. A middle lane action break as well. There's the RP. Catches out too. Where's the skewer? Not even going to bother with it. IX Mike, there's a nice flame break, but he looks to be in trouble. And No Tide is just so much better at getting kills right now. Liquid just can't fight. Here comes
He missed the shockwave.
Oh, there's the OD ult, but Korok can't actually find the kill. He's almost got the Orchid. Did not have it yet, or he would have gotten that one for sure. Now Korok's on the way out. In comes the Luna. Eclipse, but the Ravage is here. Turning the fight around. Korok, no more Aegis for you, sir. Down he'll go. Liquid's actually turning this fight around. No Tidehunter is overextended, and down they're going. Ake's gonna fall as well. Oh boy. Nobody even bought back that I can see there. Just a great fight from Liquid. No Tidehunter really diving for that one.
No, they just dove way too far in, and actually Korok picks up both of his Oblivion Staffs with that. Almost has his Orchid. He's going to do a ton of damage
He
in this
has
next
it.
fight.
It's on the Courier.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Dire's middle
That's a
tower
big
is
item to
under
pick up
attack.
against a hero like Mag, or even Luna until she gets her BKB.
Yeah, Luna's actually getting pretty close to her BKB, but that fight in general just went terribly for them. They can't do stuff like that. I think they should have just tried to passively push the tower out and then engage the fight like that, but
They have such a good sieging lineup. I mean, look at these heroes. Shockwave spam, Luna Glaives, the Druid Bear just sieging away at the tower. You don't have to throw your bodies at the enemy team, but they chose to do it.
yeah, and I think Loda actually held his ult for a little too long there too, and missed the missed the most of it. And IX Mike respawned, came in, Ravage, picked up a kill on him as well, and that was actually really close too. Loda's hand was raised in the air to Lucent Beam to finish off the kill, and instead he got gushed and killed. So Liquid really playing on the edge here.
I love the Orchid build from the OD because this allows you to disrupt the enemy 5-man, and where they would have the advantage just in terms of heroes, this item, suddenly you can be back on equal footing. And No Tide, one thing they're lacking is a reliable setup stun. They have Feign Sleep, but there are ways to remove that if supports are paying attention. And I mean, you can't count on instantly chain stunning down that OD unless you get a Blink RP, so he may very well get that silence off in a team fight and turn the fight for his team by doing so. So I love this Orchid pickup.
Yeah, and the XP earned is actually swung in favor of Liquid, whereas one point it was a huge favor in terms of NTH leading, and the gold has actually came into their favor as well, and it's not going to get any better with two Midases on their team.
And Bulba's, now he's catching up. This is why when players go for this Midas build on Brood, it's because they had a bad time and they feel the only way they can impact the game is by drawing the game out and angling for some later items and just split pushing, avoiding fights. And it's a smart choice in this game because No Tide, hero-wise, should have the 5-man advantage, but with the Orchid and with the double Midas and now with Bulba having some levels in farm, suddenly they can kind of avoid those 5-mans and even look to disrupt them. I wonder if they'll go double Orchid, but no, it looks like Bulba's going BKB.
Yeah, and a smart choice by him. I think getting two Orchids here at this point wouldn't be as effective, especially with Loda picking up a BKB. I think the high priority target to try to silence would be the Mag, and that's really the only one they really need to get it off on.
So at this point, it's dead, pretty much dead even when it comes to gold and experience. No Tidehunter, they often prefer, to go for that early Loda Midas and kind of angle towards late game with the multiple carries, putting Bulldog on something that scales. Bolda did go from, Bulldog. Why am I having so much trouble with my pronunciations? They went for the Relic. He's going to have a Radiance fairly soon, but it's not an early Radiance by any means. Oh, here comes a big smoke from Liquid. And I don't think this was spotted. I think they smoked back, towards mid.
Yeah, I think they were just smoking to check whether or not Rosh was being taken. They were afraid of that. Because obviously any good team is going to send out the times, and now they actually know.
Especially Envy's team.
You're hating on them, man.
This Envy writes what time he goes to the bathroom, and then 15 minutes later he makes sure to go again.
But they do have the level 2 Luna ult up, and she has a BKB, but
Oh,
actually grips
surprisingly,
Ake.
went for Ake with the lasso there, not the Luna with the BKB, and now the Eclipse goes off, hits everybody, the OD ult flashes through, actually kills off the Mag without him getting to RP, and I don't think he has buyback, it looks like he does not, so now suddenly the fight is going to go the other way, but that could have been a big mistake there, lassoing the Keeper of the Light. It turns out not to be, or maybe it is. Korok's on the run, he doesn't have a Force Step, but he does have a Ghost Scepter. Can he actually get away? The Brood creating the web should maybe body block this bear just a touch. They're not going to need to. So 3 heroes dead by Liquid. And once again, a fight that could have gone a lot worse for them, I feel.
Oh, neat. Tranquil Boots procs the Essence Aura. I wasn't aware of that.
Oh, you activating them, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know there were some bugs with like toggling certain items when OD first came out, or maybe that's just a Dota 1 bug. I can't remember, but
It was Ring of Basilius.
yeah,
It was
actually,
like a recent thing.
you know what's weird in Dota 1 is you can actually like draw creep aggro by toggling Rid of Basilius. It's one of the strangest mechanics ever. Loda's gonna get another Aegis.
Yeah, I think TC actually misclicked there. Because there's no way that he would have gone for the Keeper of the Light instead of the Luna. Because they were stacked right on top of each other. And I think Loda was just slightly above, and then they split and he got Ake instead.
That's pretty unfortunate. Remember, they do have a Brood. Bulba should have his BKB soon. Mithrilheimer up on the Courier. So this is a team that's never really fighting at full strength when they're 5v5. Because Bulba, even if he's there, is not going to be a big contributor just because of his hero until later on. Maybe if he gets a big couple of damage items up. In comes TC, he spots out Envy. It's going to last him. Doesn't have to up there. You go, the 4-step back now will come out. There's the Illuminate. What was stolen by Fluff? It was Nightmare. He could sleep somebody. Loda gets slapped with the Aegis. They don't have Ravage, though. I'm not sure they can fight this. They need to back. In fact, Korok has the Orchid. Here comes S4. He catches 2. 3 with the RP because Bulba tried to join the fight, tried to help his team. He's on the way out. I don't think they have detection, though. 4-staff back by Fluff. By the Bat, actually, to save his support. Yikes. They really shouldn't have taken that fight without... Should not have taken that fight without Ravage.
Yeah. Them playing that far out, especially against a lineup like this, where any sort of, at this point, any sort of reverse polarity is a good fight for them to take. Because then Liquid is forced to fight around that. And as long as they don't allow the OD to just kind of sit there and do damage. So as long as S4 always catches Korok out with the reverse polarity, they should be able to win the fight. Because then does Liquid have to do at that point? They have to surround around him, and they have to fight, and Luna does so much damage right now. She has a Clip, she has a Yasha right now, she strums a BKB, she's really farmed.
And she had Aegis. That was just another reason why Liquid was very dangerous for them to take that fight. Because even if you kill the Luna, then you got to get out safely. And it's hard to get out safely when you're up against heroes like Bane and Mag, who can just prevent you from running away, whether it's Blink Skewering, Blink RPing, or sleeping, or Bane ult to you. And then Luna respawns with a Clip, so... I mean, it was a questionable fight, to say the least, from Liquid, but... They do still have the double Midas. OD is still the lead farmer. Brood, actually quite far behind the carries of No Tide. I don't know if I'm Liquid. You can't be happy with your position right now.
Yeah, that fight was just... It also went poorly because the entire team was waiting behind that, and TC pretty much has to save his ult for Luna. Like, using it for any other situation, unless they can just get a kill and get out, which they should have done, is going to go poorly for them. Because they need some way for him not to just right-click through all of them.
And, I mean, with Korok, at this point, I guess we're going to see him go for a Hex, because without that Hex, if Luna gets the BKB off, the only thing they have to deal with it is a Bat Lasso, and... I mean, it's hard to jump into the middle of No Tidehunter's team. You can get Mono Leaked, which is devastating. You could get Fiend's Gripped or Slept. I think they really need that secondary form of initiation coming out from the Hex. They're actually going to group up top on No Tide side and go for this push. Oh, they're still tier 1 here. That's going to be an easy tower. They still have Aegis. And I don't know if Liquid can defend. They have Ravage, but even so.
This is the smart thing for them to do, though. Try to trade. Keep pressure out on the other lanes. Push out mid in case NTH decides to further 5-man. And I think they already know that that T2 tower is going down no matter what. The positioning is just really favorable for NTH.
And they're actually going to defend their tier 2, so another big victory for them. They get 2 towers for the price only of the tier 1 bottom. And Bulba... BKB should be on the Courier now. It is. Ultimate Orb coming out for Korok, so he is going to be going for that Hex next. Could find some pickoffs. If Korok can catch a support out, they will just die. I mean, OD can burst on anybody on the enemy team. Even Bulldog is vulnerable to that. Even a hero like Lone Druid can be burst down. Because, again, his high armor doesn't matter against that OD orb.
And he's got his level 3 ult now as well. So he's going to put out a lot of damage. So what NTH needs to do to win the fight is get any sort of decent Eclipse off, fight with all 5 heroes, and in an ideal world, reverse polarity should go off on Korok. It is a bit dangerous though, because if S4 is in that distance, then he is liable to get Orchided. But that's what they should be trying to go for in the fight. And for Liquid to win the fight, the Bat really needs to go in, pick off Loda. Somehow, some way, they need to avoid fighting around the Aegis. And it is about to fade right now. So as long as Bat or TC can pick up Loda, pull him back, kill him before he gets any sort of major damage off, and not get reverse polarity as 5, they can still win the fights.
Yeah, and I mean, I think if you're Liquid, you have to split push. You need to farm this Orchid, and then once the or not the Orchid, the Hex on the OD, and then once that's out, you should have around that time a BKB bat, a Hex OD, and you just start going for smoke ganks, find pickoffs, and then push off of that. Because you don't want to go 5v5 even with that even with that Hex and even with that BKB. It's still going to be risky against no Tide, so I'd like to see them go for that. Unfortunately, it's hard to farm when you're under pressure like this. Bulba should really be over towards the bottom lane, creating some pressure there, but he's trying to defend, which Peru just doesn't do anything.
Yeah, but I don't think they want to give up their last T2, especially like this.
It
gives up a lot of map control and... Oh, well, now it's gone. I agree with you there, though. I think some form of pressure should have been put on the other lanes because they knew that tower was just going to go down. But I think they thought that NTH was going to further commit since they have the Aegis right now.
Well, the Aegis is going to wear out, or the Aegis is going to wear out, and they are on the Dire side, so they will continue to have the edge. And I believe the next one's Cheese.
It is. So I think that's what they're just going to wait for and go for the base push with that.
Yeah, you could just put Cheese on your Druid, Aegis on the Luna, and it's going to be very difficult to win a fight at that point if you're Liquid.
Yeah, but IX Mike does get a Blink Dagger. Surprise Blink Dagger. They could get a really good fight off with this, especially if they can initiate pre-BKB. Which I assume they're going to try to do. I think giving up the next Roche with the Cheese as well is going to be the death sentence.
Yes.
So they need to get as much farm as they possibly can within the next few minutes, and then just engage. Yep. It's not an ideal scenario, but NTH's lineup is just kind of tailor-made for this mid-game.
Yeah, they're not going to have time to farm that Hex and Korok. The Scythe of Ice are just not coming. But look at the Bear. This is the one thing that OD can do. Just absolutely murder the Bear in the fights. And I mean, it doesn't matter if it has the Assault Cuirass. It's still going to drop.
Yeah, it's a panda, man. It's so sad. Those things are getting extinct.
Somebody call, what is it, the WWF, the Worldwide something, no, it's like the Worldwide Wildlife Fund, I believe it is. Whatever one of those wildlife preservation organizations is, somebody call them. My wit has escaped me today.
It's okay, LD. I still love you. We can spoon.
I'd rather if we didn't do that.
Okay. Hey, Korok's actually getting pretty close to his Hex, though. He's only about 1.2k off.
Yeah, by the time he gets this, the next Roche should be up, though.
Yeah, he's farming furiously, going up a little further than he should, especially with everybody off on the map, but this is a risk that he really needs to take.
Yeah, they desperately need this Hex. Again, the Hex and the Blink, ideally BKB on the bat. If he doesn't have a Mithril Hammer on the courier, yeah, he's not going to farm it before Roche.
Yeah. So guys, what we'll be looking for here is, hopefully, they're able to get the Batrider lasso off on Loda, they pop Hex on him, kill him immediately, and also manage to stay spread. Because that's going to be the large issue, staying spread while they do the DPS on him.
And also hope that Loda doesn't have buyback, because if he does and Ake's not dead, Ake can bring him back into the fight, and they could still lose the fight anyway, especially when the Hex and the Lasso are on cooldown. A lot of things need to go Liquid's way to win these fights. Although, saying that, if they steal something like RP, then the fight could go their way, even if there is the buyback, but... it's hard to count on that when you're a relatively... I mean, this Rubik doesn't have Force Staff or Blink Dagger. Normally you want to have one of those items to really have a good shot at securing yourself an RP.
Yeah, but things are okay. Well, they're not okay. They're not ideal for Liquid, but it's not a worse... They could be worse off at any rate, and they're actually all posturing around Roshan, because they know that the time's coming up, and Korok actually, I think he has his Hex.
He'll have it right as... Yeah, he pretty much does. He's got to go for it. They need that Hex to fight. He can't even bother saving for a buyback. It's not going to help them if he does.
Yeah, it's do or die at this point.
It looks like he should be going for it. The courier's actually heading to the side shop now. Even with that, it's hard to go into no Tidehunter around the Roche pit, because they're going to have that high ground advantage being on the Dire side. They should have the vision advantage. I'm surprised they haven't placed any wards yet. Are they actually out right now? No, they have some on Envy. Neither team is a gem, which is a little bit unusual 30 minutes in this passive of a game. You'd expect to see a support go for one to try and establish map control, especially with that next Roche coming soon. But we're not seeing it yet.
Yeah, and Brood's actually going to send her Broodlings in, I think. Maybe, possibly. Roche is going to come up any second now, and they're all grouping around. They're going to 5-man smoke, and this is actually what they want. Try to pick off Loda here, or S4 ideally. S4 does have a PKB now, but They want to try to pick off Loda with the smoke. Maybe if IX Mike can just blink in, Ravage, catch them by surprise. No hesitation here.
Well, No Tide's gonna win this game because Ake has a Rod of Atos. Aoi 2000 would be proud.
Oh wow, he actually does. I thought you were trolling me for a second.
No, he'd picked up a Rod of Atos. Envy, not so rich. I love the fact that S4 went for BKB. This is an essential item when you're up against that Orchid. Otherwise, you can just get silenced and lifted as well, and you're not going to be able to get off your RP. He could still get lassoed. He could still have RP stolen, but this will go a long way towards helping No Tide win the fight. And there's no BKB out on the TC now, so even a Lucent Beam asleep can disrupt him in these fights. He'd really like to have that out because Roche is back up now, and No Tide are just posturing for it, like you said.
Yeah, I really like this Bane pickup right now. Anytime that Bat Rider goes on him, he can actually just sleep the Bat, and Lotus should be able to get most of his spells off, provided that he doesn't just get blown up by everybody. But he does have enough for buyback as well, so Ake can bring him back into the fight. They do have a mech, so that's further HP they can use. And Liquid has to be really careful right now. This is the issue with playing against a mag in general. If you initiate on a carry, he's liable to just go in and ult your carry right back and take away the damage in the fight. That's the scary thing right now for Liquid.
And normally one of the better ways to deal with that is to have multiple carries so that they won't all get caught by the RP. And ideally to have tanky carries that can live through the Maggle, and then, you know, something like a Satanic on a Luna with, you know, some other items. So she can live through the Maggle and then turn the fight around. But they don't really have a tanky carry. Brood's very squishy. OD has some survivability spells, but if he gets caught by RP and there's not some counter initiate, he's gonna drop as well.
Yeah. OD isn't exactly known for being the tankiest carry, but he does have a really nice item build. I actually really like that Ghost Scepter, so he doesn't just get right-clicked down by the bear.
Yeah, or the Luna for that matter. She could still get eclipsed though, they're smoked. No Tidehunter did this at their base. They've not been spotted yet. Bat's gonna force that away, but the bear is still burning him. They actually sent the bear top, and this is something you could just abuse with that Radiant Stone Druid, is push the enemy top lane so that you're gonna have the easier access into the Roche pit. And nobody's gone to defend yet on Liquid side, but they may have to send someone soon. Not gonna go in just yet.
Yeah, and Bulldog's actually really far now. Yeah, he's picked up an AC on his bear as well.
Bear's on the cliff, and now Bear's off the cliff. The magical teleporting panda. Can anybody explain to me how this makes sense from a lore standpoint? How does this panda bear just teleport all over the map?
It's Asian, man. It's Mystic.
So
just let it be. And they're actually just gonna let the bear tank it, force them to come into this fight.
Yeah, just
Liquid's gonna push bottom, try to pressure them back out of this, but I think NTH is gonna take this way too quickly.
Are these hero Spiderlings gonna be able to deny the Aegis? Nope, the Glaives are just gonna kill them. Cheese is on the floor. Bulldog should be going for this. He'll pick it up on the bear. And just not... I don't really feel there were any big misplays by Liquid. They had to get an easy pick or they just could not fight that. And there was no easy pick forthcoming. Because like you said, no Tidehunter's smart positioning. They had only the bear in the pit. The Lone Druid was up on the cliff. They do catch out Loda though. He just got the Aegis, but he's got BKB. He pops the Manta style. And... do they turn this fight around? Are they going to go in? We're not clear yet. There they go on TC.
The Rod!
The Rod of Atos slows him down. In comes the Ravage. Now the Luna eclipse, and there's just nothing to do with it. RP catches out two. Too much team fight. RP was stolen by Fluff. He catches a bunch, but there's no follow-up damage. Boy, you know that the other enemy team is just way ahead when it comes to late game. When you steal RP, you catch 3, and it doesn't even matter. They didn't even lose Aegis. I don't even think they popped the cheese there. Or maybe they popped the cheese. Yeah, they did at least use cheese, but that was it. I guess that's how Lone Druid lived. And
Yeah,
GG...
Loda's positioning there was impeccable. If you saw him, he darted way to the right, pops his BKB, runs in with the ult. Mag actually catches them off guard with his BKB, runs in, RPs too, and then there goes the fight.
And the thing is, if they don't lasso him, he's just going to BKB and turn the fight around, and that's what we saw. And they didn't really want to blow the lasso in Lodo because he had Aegis, so even if he killed once, you got to kill him again.
Yeah, Liquid had just way too unforgiving of a lineup to play. I really like the concept behind it, and it was really neat, but the mid-game strength by NTH was just way too strong. The way that you know a team fight is going to go poorly for somebody is if you say, well, this has to happen, and this has to happen, and this has to happen for Liquid to win, and that shows the strength of NTH's lineup in the mid-game.
Well, no Tidehunter. They went for, I think, the more well-rounded, the safer lineup. Liquid went for something that just had to crush the laning stage. Their supports roamed a lot, didn't get the early level 6 on Tide or Rubik, so they weren't able to defend their outer towers. Then no Tide. Well, it started actually with a level 1 Roche attempt, and that was a clever little bait by No Tide. Something Liquid probably couldn't have fought anyway. Liquid down 0-1, but this is a best out of 3. The winner moves on to the grand finals tomorrow. $500 winner take all for this 4-team affair. Fnatic and VP will be our second best out of 3, but before we get to that, we got to see how this one ends. I'm LD, he's Blitz, stay tuned. More action from the BTS Weekend Cup coming up after this.